who has identified himself as a longtime Democratic staffer. This is not a Republican operative, a Democratic staffer who was working in Democratic offices at the time of the alleged leaking in 1617. This staffer was interviewed by FBI agents on several occasions and told those agents that then Congressman Adam Schiff was the one who approved the leaks to.
And in the end, Schiff's hypocrisy comes fully into view with nowhere left to hide. For years, he pointed fingers at others over dishonesty and misinformation, while quietly building his own political career on exaggerations, selective leaks, dramatic accusations, and half-developed stories designed to create maximum outrage. He was never truly the fearless truth-teller he claimed to be. According to Megyn Kelly's criticism, he was more like the salesman of a political product that completely fell apart the moment people examined it too closely. And once everything started collapsing, the salesman had almost nothing real left to offer. No substance, no meaningful results, just endless noise echoing through the world of politics. Kelly tears apart his image using the weight of his own public record, arguing that his legacy isn't built on reform, leadership, or meaningful accomplishments, but on drama, spectacle, and theatrical statements that crumble under even the smallest amount of scrutiny. He didn't bring people together. He pushed divisions even deeper. He didn't protect democracy. He transformed it into a personal stage built around attention and self-promotion. By the end of it all, Schiff may not be remembered as a respected statesman, but as a political parody of one. A man whose biggest mark on modern politics became a long series of dramatic warnings and confident claims that repeatedly collapsed under basic examination. Kelly doesn't merely criticize him, she completely destroys the myth surrounding him, arguing that the man who desperately wanted to be viewed as a hero may instead be remembered as one of modern politics' biggest cautionary tales.
Now, this staff member began talking to the FBI in 2017 because he said he considered the leaks to be, quote, unethical, illegal, and treasonous. This is a Democrat staffer who is saying to the FBI he had a holy shit moment when he heard Adam Schiff give the order. These documents that outline the FBI's interview, like the FBI doesn't tape its interviews. They go back and they report what they heard.
When the curtain finally comes down, Adam Schiff likely won't be remembered as some fearless defender of the Constitution. Instead, he'll be remembered as the politician who repeatedly promised a dramatic smoking gun and ultimately delivered nothing but smoke and endless buildup. Megyn Kelly makes the central tragedy painfully clear: the massive gap between the heroic image Schiff tried to create and the disappointing reality he actually delivered became impossible to ignore. He imagined himself as the great protector of democracy. Yet over time, he became a symbol of political theater spinning completely out of control. Rather than strengthening institutions and restoring confidence, he helped turn official hearings into stages for dramatic performances centered around his own ambitions. According to Kelly's critique, Schiff's real addiction was never justice or truth at all. It was attention, cameras, headlines, and the constant need to remain in the spotlight. And with every public appearance, another crack seemed to form in the carefully crafted image he spent years building. Once that illusion finally shattered, the contrast between who he wanted people to see and who he actually became was impossible for the public to overlook anymore.
Going to shock the world right now and defend Adam Schiff in response to the heat he's getting for the following clip.
It is an existential threat, Senator, and also
asleep.
I have not seen it yet, but from what I've heard about former FBI Director Ray,
someone in the audience behind
comments on 60
Pam
Minutes regarding China
is videotaping Adam Schiff asleep.
In our own country, infiltrating our water systems, our natural gas lines.
I defend Adam Schiff because these
At the center of Megyn Kelly's entire criticism sits one sharp and unavoidable point. Adam Schiff created a public image that he simply could never live up to. The distance between the character he presented to the public and the reality people eventually saw became impossible to hide. He may not be a fraud in the legal sense, but professionally, Kelly argues that he sold himself as a fearless warrior for truth while delivering little more than dramatic noise and political theater. He turned serious investigations into what often felt like low-budget television drama, constantly promising historic outcomes and earth-shattering conclusions that never actually arrived. Instead of strengthening public trust in major institutions, he slowly weakened it, making government feel more like reality television vision than responsible leadership. And perhaps the most shocking part of all is that Schiff still appears completely unaware of how badly things unraveled. Even after years of failed predictions and collapsed narratives, he continues stepping in front of cameras with the exact same confidence and over-the-top posture, acting as though none of it ever happened.
Don't believe he's going to weaponize the DOJ to use it against his opponents. I believe that's what was done to him. Though, as we discussed with Alan Dershowitz and that now famous clip that went around where I said we need Steve Bannon, I'm not totally opposed to it. I'm going to be honest. Who would cry a tear if Adam Schiff actually got some sort of hassle thrown his way by the DOJ?
Schiff's supporters continue insisting that he's simply trying to protect democracy, but Megyn Kelly immediately brushes that argument aside, treating it like a tired punchline people have heard far too many times already. According to Kelly, protecting democracy does not mean creating endless political spectacles that never lead anywhere meaningful. It does not mean transforming Congress into a personal stage for dramatic performances and media attention. And it absolutely does not mean crying wolf so often that people eventually stop believing anything coming out of your mouth. Kelly also targets what she describes as Schiff's constant projection, accusing others of spreading misinformation while repeatedly pushing narratives that never actually came true. He branded himself as a defender of truth while relying on exaggerations and dramatic claims to keep himself relevant in the spotlight. And through it all, he delivered every statement with that familiar smug expression that practically screams, "How dare anyone question me?" In Kelly's view, Schiff isn't protecting democracy at all. He's reshaping it into a personal platform built around his own image, ego, and political performance.
Schiff stated the group would leak classified information which was derogatory to the President of the United States, Donald J. Trump. Schiff stated the information would be used to indict President Trump. The whistleblower stated this would be illegal. And upon hearing his concerns, unnamed members of the meeting reassured that they would not be caught leaking classified information.
The image of Adam Schiff as some fearless truth warrior completely falls apart the second Megyn Kelly turns her attention toward him. With sharp precision and brutal clarity, she tears straight through the carefully crafted illusion, exposing him not as a defender of democracy, but as the undisputed master of empty speeches and performative political drama. After years of promising massive revelations that were supposed to shake the country, his career slowly turned into one endless audition for media attention and applause. Everything about it felt designed for headlines instead of actual results. Kelly strips away the polished public image he spent years building piece by piece, revealing someone far removed from the principled figure he pretended to be. Instead, he comes across like a politician completely obsessed with cameras, flashy sound bites, and the shallow praise echoing through Washington's political bubble, chasing attention as if the spotlight itself were keeping his career alive.
President Biden pardoned Adam Schiff at the end of his term. But unlike the one he gave to Hunter, it was a limited pardon.
It was.
And it only spoke to J6 and his work on the January 6th Select Committee. So it would not immunize him from any of the claims you and I are discussing right now, right?
Adam Schiff spent years presenting himself as Congress's ultimate investigator, but Megyn Kelly exposes the shocking twist he never wanted the public to notice. According to Kelly, Schiff wasn't uncovering real scandals at all. He was creating them, turning vague suspicions into dramatic narratives and transforming speculation into screaming national headlines. Every so-called smoking gun he hyped up eventually dissolved into nothing but smoke, and every major bombshell he promised collapsed the moment real scrutiny arrived. Kelly doesn't simply criticize him, she completely dismantles the performance piece by piece. She paints Schiff as a headline-hungry political actor desperately trying to stay relevant while pretending to be a heroic truth seeker. Rather than serving as a watchdog for democracy, he comes across as a theatrical performer trapped inside the very political drama he spent years building for himself. Loud on camera, dramatic in interviews, and completely empty once the lights and microphones disappear.
So walk us through what the 302 reports that the FBI wrote up after their interviews with this whistleblower say.
Yeah, so let's give you a sense of who this person is. We don't know their name because the name is redacted, but we know their career. They're a career intelligence officer. So they started in the executive branch as an intelligence officer, and then they get detailed to the Democratic side of the House Intelligence Committee. Eventually, this person inherits as his boss, Adam Schiff, when Adam Schiff takes over as the Democrat minority ranking member on House Intelligence in 2016. And they're working for Adam Schiff. And somewhere in the beginning of the Russia collusion, false narrative building in America, he attends a meeting where Adam Schiff says, we're going to.
If you're enjoying this takedown so far, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more. Kelly points out that Adam Schiff perfected one skill better than almost anyone else in Washington: the ability to look serious at all times, the intense stare, the lowered voice, the carefully timed dramatic pauses. He delivered every sentence as if the country were standing on the edge of total collapse. He carried himself like a man protecting top secret information that would supposedly change everything forever. But when the moment of truth finally arrived, absolutely nothing happened. No massive revelation, no earth-shattering evidence, no shocking proof that lived up to the hype. Just dramatic promises that vanished the second reality stepped in. His investigations never felt like the work of a sharp detective searching for facts. Instead, they resembled a drawn-out mystery story with no ending at all. Endless suspense, constant buildup, and ultimately zero payoff, leaving people wondering why they wasted so much time waiting for something that never came.
At least according to the legal experts I've talked to, he's only immunized for what he did related from January 6-4 to 2021. So these things occurred in 17 and 18. You've got the mortgage issue, which is also based on our reporting, a story we broke last October on the counting two houses as his primary residence to get better mortgage deals. Those would fall outside of the pardon, according to the legal experts who've looked at it. And I suspect if those get to the case of criminality at some point, that there may be some legal challenges trying to test that pardon's.
Why does this same cycle keep happening again and again? Because Adam Schiff doesn't rely on solid facts. He survives on vague hints, loaded suggestions, and carefully crafted innuendo designed to keep people guessing for as long as possible. His real talent was never exposing corruption. It was stretching weak storylines into dramatic political spectacles while feeding cable news networks just enough material to keep the outrage machine running non-stop. Megyn Kelly calls this out with brutal clarity. If Schiff truly possessed the explosive evidence he spent years bragging about, the public would have seen it a long time ago. Instead, he dragged hearings out endlessly, handed television networks dramatic one-liners, and cast himself as the heroic central figure in a political script he practically wrote himself. Schiff doesn't come across as a protector of democracy at all. He looks more like the lead promoter of political theater, constantly building suspense and tension that ultimately leads absolutely nowhere.
I mean, didn't we just have a whole criminal investigation of Donald Trump for having documents at Mar-a-Lago that might have classified information in them? And we just can't have that. We can't have classified information running around out there in the hands of people who aren't authorized. Meanwhile, this is the former president of the United States who can declassify everything. We were told that for 2 years straight, the past 2 years by Democrats. And now what you're saying is that one of the most vocal about that, Adam Schiff, had been at the helm of releasing classified information.
What makes Adam Schiff such an easy target for criticism is the massive confidence he hides behind. A confidence so inflated that it crosses the line straight into pure arrogance. When most politicians get proven wrong, they usually slow down, regroup, and rethink their position. But not Schiff. He keeps charging forward as if the public is too distracted to notice the contradictions sitting right out in the open. Megyn Kelly breaks down this exhausting pattern in detail, showing how Schiff would confidently step up to the podium, repeat claims that never led anywhere, and then behave as though the real problem was anyone daring to question him in the first place. It felt like watching a desperate salesman trying to market a broken product while insisting it was some kind of luxury masterpiece, hoping nobody notices the damage underneath. Schiff didn't just twist the truth for political advantage. He treated it like a prop for dramatic effect, waving it around in front of cameras while offering almost no real substance behind the performance.
While this is only the unverified allegation of a single former staffer, the alleged conduct would involve criminal and unethical conduct of the highest order, if proven. Your reaction to this news?
Well, it's in keeping with my opinion of Adam Schiff. I've been calling him McCarthyite ever since he started in on Trump. And as John pointed out, McCarthy, at least there had some communists in the government that he was talking about, although he was irresponsible. Adam Schiff repeatedly came out and said, I have seen documents that indict, that link Trump to Russia, but I can't reveal them to you now, but just you wait, I'm going to reveal them. And of course, we know they weren't there. We know there was nothing there. Now we have this information from the whistleblower, my favorite part of which is when the whistleblower says he objected to the illegality.
Kelly also shines a spotlight on the staggering hypocrisy Adam Schiff wears almost like a permanent costume. He constantly talks about fighting corruption while quietly bending the rules whenever it benefits his own political ambitions. He takes incomplete stories, spins them into massive narratives, and transforms congressional hearings into personal stages built for viral sound bites instead of serious public service. According to Kelly, Schiff's career was never truly about helping the American people. It was always about helping himself. While Congress became trapped in endless partisan drama, Schiff stayed focused on polishing his image and chasing media attention. He treated the House floor like a primetime television audition, obsessively searching for that one dramatic line that would dominate headlines and keep him at the center of the conversation. And the worst part, while he performed for cameras and played the role of political resistance hero, meaningful work slowed to a crawl and public trust in major institutions quietly crumbled in the background. Strip away the dramatic speeches and flashy moments, and what remains is the image of a man who mastered outrage and political theater, not real leadership or meaningful results.
So the whistleblower was reportedly very specific on the details. Like it doesn't sound like a lie because this person had a lot of details when speaking to the FBI. Quote, when working in this capacity, this whistleblower was called to an all-staff meeting by Schiff. In this meeting, Schiff stated the group would leak classified information, which was derogatory.
If there was one role Adam Schiff squeezed for every possible second of attention, it was impeachment. That became his biggest stage and his most dramatic performance. He carried himself through those hearings with a deeply self-righteous tone, acting more like an overdramatic performer in a school play than a serious political figure. Megyn Kelly cuts directly through all the theatrics, exposing the entire spectacle for what she believes it truly was. Carefully scripted outrage designed to elevate Schiff as the heroic face of political resistance. And just like so many other performances he tried to headline, the grand finale completely collapsed under the weight of its own hype, delivering none of the historic revelations he promised over and over again. Kelly also zeroes in on Schiff's favorite style of language. Phrases like, "the evidence suggests," or "we've seen indications." Statements that sound enormous and dramatic while actually saying very little. It was political sleight of hand at its finest. Schiff wasn't holding undeniable proof at all. He was holding smoke and speculation, desperately hoping the dramatic performance would distract people from the emptiness hiding underneath it all.
Now have whistleblower interview transcripts from the FBI. They're not exactly transcripts, they're FBI write-ups of the interviews that they conducted with a whistleblower who's a self-described Democrat working for the Democrats on the House Intelligence Committee, who worked for them, by the way, for 10 years, who says that he was there in 2017 when he heard Adam Schiff say, "We are going to leak classified documents and intel to the media with the hopes of getting Donald."
Then there's Adam Schiff's overwhelming obsession with Donald Trump, an obsession Megyn Kelly dissects with ruthless precision while cutting straight to the center of Schiff's entire political identity. Schiff built his public image around the promise that he would be the man to finally take Trump down, repeating it endlessly like a story he refused to let go of. Night after night, appearance after appearance, he kept insisting Trump's downfall was right around the corner. Yet years later, Trump remains standing while Schiff continues recycling the exact same warnings as if nothing has changed at all. The irony surrounding the entire situation is almost unbelievable. Schiff's career became permanently connected to the very person he spent years trying to remove from public life. In many ways, he created that connection himself, and the awkwardness doesn't end there. Kelly also points out how Schiff repeatedly fundraised off the fear and panic he helped create, attaching donation requests to nearly every dramatic alert and alarming prediction. He didn't just capitalize on public concern, he transformed it into a non-stop fundraising machine. And what did supporters actually receive in return after all those promises? Mostly dramatic television appearances, endless warnings, and a never-ending cycle of confident claims that led nowhere.